manifesting miracles and the art of surrendering. So I'm really excited to hear your viewpoints on what it means to surrender and how that's helped you to manifest things in your life.
Oh, so hard, but so easy at the same time. And just admit it, confessional here. I haven't been good at surrendering for very long. And my life was so hard. I was forcing. I think that people have ideas in their heads about what they want, and then they're focused on that. And when you're focused on one point, you are unable to see everything else that's around you. So, I mean, honestly, my beautiful, fulfilling life now is only possible because I snapped out of it. What about you?
Yes, absolutely 100% the same. As a Capricorn, I like to focus on one thing, and I have a really hard time being like, okay, I need to let this go so that it can grow. So, for example, attracting my husband or having a baby, I really had to let those things go and focus on other things, focus on creating, but in a different way. So, are there things in your life that you've actually attracted by letting go? Like, what have you done?
Well, you just said having a baby. My husband and I were really focused on having a baby. It's the second marriage for both of us. He was cool not having a baby. I wanted one. He came around and we talked about in vitro. We talked about adoption. We tried adoption. We were matched several times that they all fell through. Finally, I was like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. This isn't supposed to happen. But I still had this deep yearning in my heart, no matter how much I tried to surrender and release it. And then this little girl who is sweet and precious and wonderful, who needed a family, just came to light to us. It wasn't what I had in mind. It wasn't the squishy infant, that with all the noises and the diapers, which I don't mind the diapers, but she was 8.5 and she needed us. And now I realize that we needed her too. But I only was able to have that fulfillment of wanting to be a mother again because I have loved it so much with our other kids, that the only way that I have been able to experience it was by releasing.
Yeah, that's
It doesn't look like what I thought it would look like.
It doesn't. Actually, I totally resonate with you. My husband didn't really want another child either. And so I really let it go for a while. I was just like, okay, I'm not going to have one. And then I focused on like my business and like going back and getting schooling completed. And it just kind of one day he was like, oh, okay, I'm open to it. It took us a year to really get pregnant, but letting go and focusing on other things really helped it move in quicker.
Yeah. So, and I think that especially with wanting a baby, because that's such a common yearning. The releasing is so difficult because it is that, I mean, I kind of make this motion because it's almost like that, just praying and offering yourself up in this painful kind of a way, like a painful, hopeful kind of a way. And it's hard to release it, but it's really super cool when you do. And I think that if people are like, great, but how do I?
Yes.
Here's the fun part.
Yeah. So what do you do when you're letting go? I have my own 3 steps. So what do you do?
Okay. I usually tell people the first thing, well, I always have my pen in my hand, you know me and my journal. So, journaling, really exploring your feelings, because when you're talking things through with yourself in your head, you're only repeating the same things. And when you're journaling them and you're writing them down, you can actually start to have an active conversation with yourself and have new realizations. So I always, for anybody, just journal, please. And then also the hardest thing I think for a lot of people is getting past the how. They're
and the timeline.
stuck in the how. And I was stuck in the how. You were stuck in the how with having a baby. We were stuck in the how.
Yeah.
And, releasing that, a couple summers ago, I started to focus on manifesting a vehicle for my husband. And I told him about this manifestation, and it was brand new, made to order. And he was like, I just really don't need a brand new car. And I was like, this isn't about need. Like, I want you to have this. This is so important to me. And he's like, well, I just don't. And he's an accountant.
He's like, save it.
I don't know how the finances with that would work out. And then I realized, oh, he's not in the same place that I am with releasing.
Yeah.
And so I just said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have shared this with you. We're not going to talk about this anymore. And 9 months later, he drove the new vehicle into our driveway, and it was funded by a source that we didn't even know about when we had the original conversation.
Gosh, letting go and just staying open and trusting.
Babies, cars, what do you have?
Whatever. Yes. So like same. So like my first step is I have to sit with the emotions because for me, with certain things like anger, there's a lot of anger that can come up when you're not on that timeline that you want to be on. And so I have to sit with that emotion and like you said, like journal it, maybe just write about it. I personally enjoy writing about it and then burning it.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite things to do.
it's such
Like,
beautiful releasing because you're sending it up with the smoke.
yes, exactly. Like, goodbye, I'm letting you go. You're free. I'm able to be in myself. Sometimes, though, I need a physical release. So I'll either, go for a nice walk outside, I'll do yoga, I'll do something physical to get it out. And then I come back to, okay, what else can I be focusing on? So, for example, wanting a baby, wanting a relationship, like we're wanting to create those things in our lives. So, why can't I be focused on something else creative at that time? So, I dove into things like going back to school or like painting or just creating in different ways so that
Yes.
I could still have that energy moving and surrender. And the last step is really just to be. So, like, that could be meditating, that could be just trusting the universe, which is really hard sometimes, but just staying open and breathing.
Breathing, so important, so important. So why don't we just everybody right now just take a really deep breath in through your nose and send it all the way down to your belly. We don't use the full capacity of our lungs very often unless we're really thinking about it. And breathing really does help just to calm your central nervous system. It helps to send extra oxygen to your brain, which it needs to work correctly. So yeah, definitely breathing. One thing that you said though about the anger,
Mhm.
about really journaling about your emotions, which is the whole point of journaling, because you can pinpoint an emotion like anger, but that's really vague. What is it? Is it frustration? Is it disappointment? But what I got from you, what was downloaded to me was something that I tell people all the time is today's expectations are tomorrow's disappointments. So if you are setting defined parameter expectations, expect heartbreak. I had heartbreak during our adoption process.
Yeah.
I had a defined parameter that I just was going to make happen, and I needed to release that parameter into more general terms. So when you're journaling about your emotions and what they really are, get really specific. When you're sending out your wishes, get really general, because what if something that you want, your want is limited to your field of knowledge?
Mhm.
And what if something that you want is just the seed for something much bigger that you don't even know you want yet?
Yeah. And to me, that falls back into the how. And I used to say this to myself, don't ask how, just allow. Because you just want to allow those things in. Like you just said, like plant the seed and then just stay open because it can look much different than you picture in your mind.
Absolutely. Everybody open up the comment section and just type that in to reinforce that learning. Don't ask how, just allow. Type that. I'm serious. Like type it. I'm going to write it down. Type it in. If you're taking notes, write it down. Don't ask how, just allow. Put that in the comments for us.
I actually got a download of that when I was going through a transition between jobs. And I communicate with angels, and they were like, don't ask how, just allow. And I'm like, okay, sure. That's
Right.
fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, fantastic. Well, that is really the magic of releasing and the magic of allowing, and how it's the key to manifesting your dreams.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, we're Pixie and Dr. Jane, and this is your woo-woo stuff. So before you go, make sure you give us a thumbs up, you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you'll know the next time that we drop a video to help you live a richer, fuller life with lower stress and more success.